Hey everybody, my name is Getty222 and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time we got a new case, we met our client, we investigated the crime scene, and we got to meet Herlock Sholmes' assistant, Dr. Wilson, who for some reason is a child. This time we're going to go to the house of our client and hopefully run into Herlock Sholmes. Nothing else to do except continue with our adventure. It looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation. Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. Oh, I guess we need to present something to him. Let's present the postcard. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign, gadabouts, that's for sure. We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson. What? From me? From her ladyship? Her ladyship? Give that here, at once! Come on, hand it over, that's for me! Ugh! Don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? What was that coin exactly? It's a silver crown, obviously. But that's a lot more than that. It's an appearance fee, that's what it is. An appearance fee? Oh, I see. You mean... That's right. For the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me. Every time. Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly. Of course, her using my name without my say, so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still. I'm sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you. Never mind that. So, what'd you want to know then, eh? Sorry? Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. So go on, fire away. What'd you want to know? Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Ah, the little knife-wielding, mustache Japanese fellow? He lives in a right old hovel. It's just over there. Look. On the first floor of that house on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle's propped up. That is nearby indeed. If I remember rightly, the landlord is a Mr. John Garadeb. Right, well, if you see her again, you make sure you give her ladyship my regards, you hear? I mean it. You tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes. Don't worry, Inspector, we will. Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship. Definitely more of this girl than meets the eye. Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left. Yes. So then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings? Definitely. Alright, well. The location's been added, Mr. Natsume's lodgings. This place seems a little quaint. Oh, hi. May I help you? Ah, yes. Would this be the residence of Mr. John Garadeb? Indeed it would, sir. And who may I say is calling? My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here? We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client. One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garadeb. Did you see that, Miss Susato? That was a real-life English maid. I know. As I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better. It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it? We need only to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete. Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garrideb will see you now. This way. Oh, this guy. Good day to you. John Garrideb at your service. Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer. Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back in the Battle of Maywand, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings. So he's a retired soldier. It's a hell of a job getting up and down stairs now, I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine. Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs. You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo. Do you think so? Well, Mr. Garrideb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal. Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a folderol, really. God, these English words. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Joan, fetch the... Ah! Dash it all, woman! Be careful! Oh, dear me, I do beg your pardon, sir. You jolly nearly took the skin off my hands. I shall be more careful, sir. So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now. Yes, I see. Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging upstairs, is that right? Yes, we would be very grateful if you can answer some questions for us. Only two, please, naturally, especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blightly. Okay, that is super not... You're not supposed to do that. We forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were. Oh, is it? Even had some famous detective poking around, you know. In this old house, would you believe? Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, all that detective business. Oh, but you have a copy of Rant's magazine here, so... No. Anyway, the chap's investigating the foreigner's room as we speak. So he's in Sosuke-san's room. It's a bally nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss. It's jolly unsettling. About Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garrideb, please do tell us. Ah yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week. Oh, just 1 week? So he moved in very recently then. I had 2 lodgers most of the time, one on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago, you see. There've been... Gah! Dash it all, Joan! Do be careful! Oh, my goodness, I'm terribly sorry, sir. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. Oh? Why? He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joan, that man's trouble. Sooner or later he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything. We won't be calling this man as a witness, that's for sure. Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Yes, oh yes, indeed there was. And she's dying to tell us. Had you noticed anything else about your lodger, Mr. Natsume? Oh my word, yes. The man was shadier than an orchard. Could you elaborate? Well, take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books it is. More than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off to the old bookshop every single day and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house has gone to bed too. Oh, I see. The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning. Ah. Could you clarify something, I wonder? What, pray? How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? Oh! I understood that neither the lodgers live on this floor of the house, is that correct? That's right, yes. They're both below us, on the first floor in the street level. Dude, you guys are already sweating and we're not even in the trial. Then, how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example, even the times they go to bed. Ah! Good grief, Joan! Be more careful, woman! Oh my goodness, sir! I'm terribly sorry, sir! Something doesn't add up here. Yeah, that's really sus. Like, very unironically. It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out of the window at around that time? The window? Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby? 5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garrideb household, so I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan? No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour. And with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road. Oh, I see. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then? Such as? Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated. Well, yes. Was there something then? Well, it's nothing particularly significant, but at around that sort of time in here, there... Ah! For the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing! Oh, dearie me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir. Do be more careful, woman. Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Narrow Hollow. Oh, yes? I have an exceedingly good memory, as far as I remember. Nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all. Oh, really? Mr. Garrideb? The way you were talking before, it sounded like rather there might have been. Oh, well, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really. Nothing of... Ah! Joan, dash it all! What is the matter with you, woman? Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened. Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal. Joan? That's right, Mr. Garrideb. What is the matter with these two? Okay, yeah, this is really sus. Sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident, but what? I wish I knew. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on? Why, certainly. Just below us on the first floor. And Mr. Shambles is investigating there, even as we speak? Yes. Told me Nat's his name, had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key. Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Shambles' services? That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around? In Mr. Natsume's room, I mean? Don't see why not. It's just down one flight of stairs. Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we? Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Shambles again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more. Okay. We move to... Yep. I'm gonna keep my eye on these two, because something is definitely off. Ooh. Yeah, that's a lot of books. That is a lot of books. There's a cat. Whoa! Just look at this place. And smell it. It's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. No, me neither. It's so dark in here, too. Is that the window over there? Well, it was the window, I think, yes. Once upon a time. But for some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives. By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Shambles anywhere, have you? No, that's true. But according to what Mr. Garrett told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating. Probably hanging on like a mountain of books, so let's just go ahead and examine real quick. Look at those books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling. They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty. With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you? No. What a dreamy idea. Bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile will ever be read again. Ah, so reading is just an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as the tea ceremony teaches us. I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy. Yeah, see, this is normally the part where I'd be saying like, oh, Mr. Shambles is hanging from somewhere, but clearly not. Okay. Well, let's take a look at the obvious thing, this adorable cat. Oh, it's so cute. Oh, it's so cute. Oh my, what an adorable little cat. Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away. I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolor Mike, wasn't it? Do they even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain? Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan. That's made me feel homesick now. Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days. Well, that's disappointing. The desk seems to be wedged into a crevice between the mountains of books on either side. Suppose Mr. Natsume would sit there and read while stroking his cat. But surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes, surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from a secondhand bookshop. Your books. Oh yes, Mr. Natsume's name is on it. Look. And the date of the purchase, 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books. Secondhand book receipt has been entered into the court record. Receipt discovered in Mr. Natsume's room for some books that he had purchased from a secondhand bookshop before the incident occurred. We're gonna have to go to the bookshop at some point. I'm just guessing. Oh look, it's a beckoning cat from home. It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Sure, Mr. Natsume didn't bring that maneki Neko all the way from Japan with him. I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you forgetting the enormous Daruma doll that you brought in your luggage? Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I want a lucky charm. Well, I imagine Tsunasame wanted the same. And this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him. It's not doing a very good job so far, is it? You mustn't say such things. I didn't say a word. Why are my eyes such a giveaway? Literally everyone in this game can read my mind. Like, they have to be aware I'm doing a voiceover. Could you even call this a window? I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. Although, all that remains is a frame around some bricks now. So really, it's just a wall then, isn't it? But why would anyone deliberately break it up like that? I'm afraid I have no idea. Ah! Perhaps Mr. Natsume painted the brick design on a fit of whimsy. Ugh. It's alarmingly feasible. Anyway, whatever the reason, the lack of ventilation in here makes the place very oppressive. It does. I imagine being cooped up in a room like this would be extremely trying. Ah, there he is. I knew we'd find him eventually. Ah, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Aha, there he is. Where did he appear from? He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope he won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Shambles. Ah, you two! Good day! Now, let me see. Where was it that we met? Oh, Mr. Shambles, we were together on the SS Buria. Yes, of course, the Buria. And let me see. What happened on that voyage? It was Kazuma Asagi. He died, tragically. You were a great help to us. Ah, yes, but of course. The case of Mr. Asagi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it? Oh. Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least. What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Herlock Shambles. Lovely. This is Mr. Oh, no, my dear madam, hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. Miss Naruhodo? And Mr. Susato, you almost got it right. You were so close. Try the other way around, Mr. Shambles. Ha 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 ha! I lose the first round. I mean, technically he did remember our names. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. So they apprehended Sosuke-san in that short amount of time? I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little? It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls that can be distended to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom, you know, from an adventure entitled A Study in Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pens them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose. Mr. Shambles? We have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should be only too pleased, and this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Sosuke Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Shambles, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume. Yes, I believe it was the name rather along those lines. But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? I'm sorry, Mr. Zato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What? I can't believe he was looking Suzato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I'm not merely feigning ignorance. Everyone in this game can read my mind. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh? How? I assure you, I have no recollection of accusing your stooped compatriot of the crime. But that doesn't make sense. The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. Ah, a man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? Yeah. I'll give you points for this one. I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit then? That I could not tell you. But it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliophily. Really? Do not be deceived into believing that I'm a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh dear. Ah, tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garadeb, a retired military man. It was the first time I'd ever met a soldier from the Great British Institution that is the services. And it was the first time I'd ever met a maid from the Great British Institution that is service. I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ as maid. Yes, I read as much of my Great Britain primer. And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary. As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically, in the retired Army veteran, Mr. John Garadeb. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one. Ah, but sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Shambles. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window, of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Window tax? What is that? Surely, not a tax on windows. Precisely that. That is such. No wonder we fought against the British. Oh my goodness. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly close windows up, while the rich open windows here, there, and everywhere, in an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. Okay, so it's not the case now. Thank God. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. Suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabbily nature of the accommodation. Oh. Still, that is of little relevance here, a matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Shambles. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well then, I congratulate you, sir, on ambition realized, and so promptly, too. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes, trust. Mr. Shambles, Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing. Oh, what is it, Mr. Shambles? Tell us. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garrideb is... Mr. Shambles said as much before, actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays in my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo, as yet, our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help us establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garrideb's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Okay, well, I'm gonna try to see if I can get anything from Mr. Garrideb now. Ah, you pair again. Tell me, was the detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there? Mr. Herlock Shambles? Ah, yes, rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Shambles is in his element down there. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joan? Now then, why don't you tell me what— Ah! For the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch what you're bully well doing? I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir. Ah, yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave, if you be so kind. Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance. Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out. According to Mr. Shambles, Mr. Gerda is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem to open to us at the moment, so perhaps he should do some digging. Okay. That briefcase just spawned on screen. So I'm assume... Oh, it's just Mr. Shambles. You know what? I don't know what I was expecting. Ah. What's he doing over there? Mr. Shambles? Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows. Good gracious! When did you sneak in here? Herlock Shambles, sir. At your service. Whatever were you doing over by the window? I'm given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madame. Yet sadly, cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up there. Well, keeping an eye to one's windows at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. Ah, and one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind. Wait, he's not talking about, is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Do you mean Mr. Shambles? There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo? I think so. There is just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Here we go again, boys. Mr. Gerda, though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first rate. I'm afraid, sir, that is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I've been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon. The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. Huh? And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Mr. Naruhodo, look! Yeoman's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems that Shambles' conclusions are both spot on. How could you possibly... How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungles of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts! And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Shambles is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, which I'm gonna have to fix. The game is afoot. Certainly should take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? Ah, for a man with military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garib, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. What is this piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house. What? Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you had imagined. The chilling trances of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well. Yet as you look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Ah! Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garib, at Batty's Circus, a traveling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I've made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. I think we would have noticed that. Oh jeez, there's more. Now, Mr. Garib, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage. Nonsense, man! I simply... But what, we must now ask ourselves, is the true cause of this pain? And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it's a pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. And so you had no choice but to let it go. Yes, well, Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I am not mistaken. Oh dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes. What? Aha! There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it or was it not once said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Actually, she did not say that, but fair enough. Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact. Whatever do you mean? Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There's only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. Carpet gnawed on by the starving lion. No. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction. This beastly puzzle. Alright, we need to do some revision here. Ah! What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrideb. I'm afraid I didn't notice. My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times too. Oh. Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in, again, but can I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it again? Well, your deduction just now... Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, this is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. Wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrideb and his maid would have been hurt, or worse. Ah, that's where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. I thought you said that they sold the lion to the circus. And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe I've ever heard of a lion that drinks tea. Ah, my dear Mr. Sato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lays hands on Great British soil, they're infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Oh, what a glorious notion! Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling that was coming. A slight massage. That's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it. Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help in Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least, that's what I want to believe. Let us start again. From the beginning. Of Sherlock Holmes, Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Time to do some course correction. Okay, certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see. Fearsome beast has been on a rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might the beast take? Ah, for a man with military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance as a Garrideb leads directly to the answer. True nature of the beast has run rampant here is revealed by the lion statue. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garrideb's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in his room. Yes, something with a very fierce nature. But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? We must follow Mr. Garrideb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer. Ah.
Take that!
Photograph frame. Oh. Is that not it? Oh! I have to examine it. I have to examine the photograph first. Yeah, when in doubt, like, I really can't. You really do need to examine it before you present it. That's fair. Well, what do we do with some certainty? So a destructive creature's been working this room. Mr. Garrett inadvertently looked in the direction of something that gives identity away. Yes, we investigate thoroughly enough, we ought to find the answer. What did Mr. Garrett turn to look at? It's here somewhere, we simply need to find it. What's this photograph? It appears to be from Mr. Garrett's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but he can't make out his bride. No, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there. Glass is broken, so you can't see the bride's face at all. But no amount of cracks could hide the woman's plump form. I think powerful would be kinder than plump. Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, she certainly looks that. There's a lot of horsepower there. Not someone you want to upset, that's for sure. Oh look! Have you noticed her wedding ring? It's very large, isn't it? Yes, that's unusual design. It looks like some sort of embellished sunflower. Maybe it's that?
Take that!
There we go. There it is. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Garrett. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Oh, indeed. Surely any woman with such powerful constitution will be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. Too late. The fact remains that the beast which so clearly savaged this room was your wife, Mr. Garrett. Gah! The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? Pray do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to see with one glance in your direction. It is? The dress pocket gives us a handsome clue to the beast's current whereabouts. The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Anyway, Mr. Shambles is quite right. There's no sign of a Miss Garrett anywhere. But it seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garrett's wife could be. Ha! She's wearing a very large ring. Look. Oh yes, a sunflower design with some rather nice embellishments. It's on the ring finger of her left hand, which means surely a wedding ring. Looks like it's on there for life too. I can't imagine it would slide off a finger of that size. That's something to think, Mr. Naruhodo, not to say. Do you know Mr. Garrett's wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one? It's a large sunflower design as well. Really? You have a great memory for these things. Well, also it's still in the room. A large sunflower wedding ring. It's quite a coincidence that they have the same ring, isn't it? I'm gonna go with it's not a coincidence. There we go. Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Ah! Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown in the hand of Mr. Garrett's bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Garredeb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garredeb herself. Oh my! What? Do we explain why she didn't get fired? I'm spilling tea all over him. Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmise, this is the wife. Yes, my Joan. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a bally corker back. Ah! It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. After all, you're a retired military man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? It's not right, I tell you! I was a second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man is his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London, one is rather judged. Household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garredeb has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garredeb? Only in company, obviously. But listen here. This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret. Please! Solved! Moving on. Now, Mr. Garredeb, plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that blithe pose, the stress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel must be revealed by the supporting arm. Mr. Shambles is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garredeb's wife a beast. Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable. Mr. Garredeb is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true. So perhaps the supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head has some other significance then. According to Mr. Shambles, Garredeb's pain is tangible though. What could that pose of his really signify? I know it is. I already saw it earlier. Just trying to get a good angle on it. Slap cheek. His cheek was slapped earlier. Probably by his wife. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade. Was you, Madame Joan Garredeb? Well, yes. You have been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir. Ah! How the blazes! How did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view. Well, Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garredeb to fly into a rage. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is a pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Not quite. Did Mr. Shambles say that the bills were all for lion fodder? Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed. Which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garredeb's wife. Mr. Not she's a person, not a thing! Yes, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. One so hard that it left a perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes. Why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. Ah, take a look at that bookmark there. Ah, someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here. Look. Mr. Gyarados is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh no, so it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look, that's his signature here. Lip marks, made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate, romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Suzato-san. Oh dear, I'm sorry. So this bookmark is actually a love note then. Yeah, that is without question it. I can see that being the reason. Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here? Ah! Okay. But I don't know the bully woman. You don't know her? That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That's right. That's what I've been saying. Ah! A likely story. Now listen here, Joan, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book at the second-hand place, and that note must already have been in there. So, the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? That's right. That's what I've been saying. Ah! A likely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you've forgotten, is John! A likely story. Are you questioning my name now? Ah, jeez. And there we have it. Arouse the suspicion of a female heart, and you release a beast with a most ferocious bite. Ah. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. Very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? Ah. This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eyes settle upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yeah, it's not the dessert. But surely Miss Gyarados didn't eat the carpet. Teehee. No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray that this room is in is a result of her wild temper. No, that's true. So, this is the last part of Mr. Sholm's seduction that we need to fix. We only need to follow Miss Gyarados' gaze, and that will tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can see. Yes! I'm gonna take a look at that right there. Carpet here has been ripped to shreds. Yes, and according to Mr. Sholm's seduction, the tears match those made by an Indian lion's teeth exactly. Oh, look here. What is it? If you look closely at the edge, you can see scorch marks. Oh yes, so you can. In that case, perhaps the carpet wasn't eaten in the normal sense at all. Let's rethink this with that in mind. Oh, this is a candle. The candlestick is missing. Looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? The blaze looks too small. Surely it's very unstable. Looks to me like even the slightest knot would make it topple over. Oh dear, that would be dangerous. Wait, Take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing. Yes, I didn't notice that before. Why is that, I wonder? Why is one of the candle 3 missing from its holder? Pretty sure it's a candle.
Take that!
There we go. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Most illuminated, my dear fellow, and of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remnants of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. Indeed, they are. The scorch marks on the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks? It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Miss Garrett's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused a candle to fall from the holder. And in seconds, the carpet was alight and the whole corner of the room in flames. Yes, For the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is only but one conclusion here. After the sparks of marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Mr. Sholmes, sir, I salute you! Ah, jeez. Carpet scorched by a small fire. Solved! Deduction complete. Elementary. Sweet. It's these dashed long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good secondhand bookshop just around the corner. Buy my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material, for which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems. I don't know about admonished. Demolish might be rather closer to the mark. And beast is most certainly an apt to— Ah! Here we go again. And the carpet? Was that destroyed by a fire when the candle fell on the floor? Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. I was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That's sympathy for you. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The Bally's furniture started going up as well. We've had to hide the mess behind the screen for the time being. Over here, Mr. Garrett? Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. Ooh. Had all my favorite old novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got a hold of them, that was it. Whoosh! Up in smoke. Gosh. Then the wife started hurling things at me. What a terrible sight it must have been. There was I, back up against the window, under heavy enemy fire. Centenary books incoming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite. Book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride? Ah, yes, your notorious love of big cats coming through again. I assure you, the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest. So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage. Mrs. Sholmes' deductions turned out to be correct once again. It can only be described as a great British wonder. I tell you, it was a total carnage. Flames everywhere and the old stick in full fettle. Out of interest, what time of day was that? Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see, around 5 o'clock, I think. So at exactly the same time as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below. Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole of Blightly could have been flattened outside my window at that moment, and I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing. Oh, really? Mr. Sholmes? Yes, Mr. Naruhodo? What can I do for you? Well, I think we've got to the bottom of Mr. Gyarados' situation now. But what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? I can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired armor man to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether his secret would prove to be of relevance or not. I just knew you were going to say that. Ha 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 ha. Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of only two categories, those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far great importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry? Visiting hours of the prison will soon be over. Oh no! Is it that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have the official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps if you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now? I must prepare supper for Mr. Gyarados. Oh yes, I'm so sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. Sosuke-san will be waiting for us. And I'm going to have to give him an answer. Okay, well, we've come this far, we might as well just go all the way. Let's go back to prison. That sounds better in my head. That is not where I went. That is actually not where I went. It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison. Yes, I know. Let's hail a car- Oh. What's the matter? Looks like something's going on over there in front of the Gyarados house. What the heck? I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers. Are you for real? Who are you calling old man, you rum-looking nin-mini-pimini? This guy looks like a Muppets character. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio. They're not dreamt in your philosophy. Who's this Horatio fella, eh? What are you on about? Excuse me. Eh? What the? Who are you now? I'm sorry, it just looked as though there might be some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see. Eh? A lawyer? What? If I could be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I've studied English law. Fine. I'll be on my way for today. You mark my words. This ain't over yet. Get thee to a nunnery! Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you? What? What? I do hope you're not injured. Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle, thank you. What was that all about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, that are dreamt of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but... Are you a lodger here? In the Gyarados residence? Oh, fair Sir Maiden, thou art so right. Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Gyarados mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Oh yes, a gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy a polemage in my battle of words ne'er there could be. Sorry, battle did you say? Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. So, fair maiden, so good gentlemen, I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well. I didn't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. Seems he's unaware of what happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Sosuke-san and that man as lodgers, the Gyarados house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. Oh, it's you! You're here! You came! Look, I'm student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. I can't believe you came back! I'm so touched! We are so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume. Oh, no, think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never failing, Nipponese! Oh, now, let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There's nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand, it is a thorough friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least. Oh, it's you! The miserable, rotten spy, Herlock Sholmes! He does not care at all. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything per se. Save observing, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring. Gloomful room? At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is the superior route. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight and cost me not a penny. Ah, you! How dare you, Herlock Sholmes! I've had it. I'm through. At the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings. No doubt my luck will be cursed at tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is bedamned! What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? He mentioned that once before, didn't he? His lodgings were cursed, I mean. And there is much truth in Mr. Musashi's words. What? Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, I would say. For the men's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean? Mr. Natsume, what did you mean by what you said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed? Oh no! Why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it. Oh, I see. That's really agitated him. You don't mean... The trial really is cursed somehow? Are you referring to the prosecutor, the Reaper of the Bailey? The Reaper? Oh no! What do you mean? Please, tell me. Summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words. No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever. Oh my goodness! Can it really be true? That was 16 words exactly! Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. McGill did. What? Ah, I'm impressed, Mr. Zato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Shambles, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zieks killed the man himself. Oh, no, he couldn't have, surely. You have some wonderful notions. Sorry? The man isn't a mass murderer, he's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Oh, yes. Why, of course he is. Ah, of course he is. Then why are you trying to scare me? It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that? Van Zieks is a quite exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception. Ah, that's good. Tosuke-san looks like he's going to cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in British criminal trial, there is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system, whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals, and corrupt lawyers for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. By such underhand means, those who would want are able to sway the jury. Which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. But it means the wrong verdict can be passed. And sadly, it is from time to time, my dear madam. It is simply the reality of the situation. And that's alright. However, those indicted by Lord Van Zieks cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Oh my. Though the education may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom. Within months, they all disappear. It is most striking. Disappear? But how? Ah, by all manner of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage, perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by a highwayman. Oh, no. All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. I knew it. I'm... dead! Dodo! Done for! Doomed! When you said accursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Garrideb's house, I assume. Do you mean to say that you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain. But I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. That didn't take long then. Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time, from dawn to dusk. So I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away. You must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time. I had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road a week ago now. Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. The rent is cheap, I have so little money, it appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops. Quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late, so I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it, but if not, don't mention it in the first place." Yes, well said. But it was true. It was all true. You mean, the room really is cursed, then? Ever since I moved in that windowless hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. And in my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits! I love this guy so much. If there was only someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe in me? Really, no one at all? To believe. Yes, to believe. Mr. Shambles? Ah, me, Mr. Naruto? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case on the SS Buria, if you recall. The Buria... Ah, that case. The one with the snake? Well, yes. At that time, I was the suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate. I did I? Interesting. What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe me? I see, yes, you mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room? Well, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said, I didn't do it. But I could have been lying! Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me. What? You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What? What do you mean, Mr. Shambles? I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances could hang as far as I'm concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Meaning? Whether or not one should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, he's right. He's right! Look, I'm student Miss Naruto Esquire. Whether or not I can believe myself. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. You're so right, Kazuma. Well, my dear fellows, it's time we were leaving, I believe. Already? Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There's a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Oh dear, there's never enough time, is there? Mr. Natsume, if you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire! As I said, I only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday. And although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. Something crucial? What to believe in? The defendant, justice, or the truth? How to believe, even. But I think I finally worked it out. I decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it is imperative that we prove that in court. Look, consider Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire. I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end, with every weapon available to me. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue. Of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was, in many ways, made it from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Mr. Sato? Yes? Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely! As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind. But it's time to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Mr. Shambles believes in me now too. So it's time. Time that I learned to believe in myself. Sosuke-san is no one. He's all alone. So it's my job to help him, to fight his corner. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. Alright guys, I think that's going to be it for this episode. This was pretty decently long. So we got just a little bit of evidence, and we were able to kind of go around the city and learn more about the situation with our client. And next time on the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, we're going to go back into court, and we are going to defend our client. See you guys then.